Hey everyone, and welcome to my Completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate Saga with the SCS mod. And in this episode, we have a lot to do. This might be a little bit of a longer one, because I would like to have the whole coast, which we're going to cleanse in this episode. I would like to have all of that included in the same episode. So we'll see how that goes. First we're going to uncover this spiderwood area. We're going to visit that later, once we're back east again. And then if we go south here, we can uncover Gulliken, which is a halfling village, which again we're going to visit later in the game. Now, also what we have to do is level up some people. And Jaheira leveled up in Druid, so finally she has level 5 in Druid, and that gives her access to level 3 spells, which is pretty big. And of course, because of that Ring of Holiness that she has equipped, she has an additional slot for level 3 spells. And there are some notable spells when it comes to Druid level 3. It starts to get better when it comes to Druid. The main deal, of course, is Cold Lightning. That's the main spell. It's a really, really good spell in Baldur's Gate 1. The downside of it, you can of course pause and read about it. It's a really cool spell, deals a lot of damage. And the only downside of it is that it has to be cast outdoors, so it doesn't work indoors or like underground. That's why it's not that useful in Baldur's Gate 2, where a lot of the game is done in such areas. But in the Baldur's Gate 1, it's an excellent spell, because a lot of Baldur's Gate 1 is done in these like outdoor forest areas and whatnot. Then of course we have like some bigger heals. We have Dispel Magic, which is normally, like in Baldur's Gate 2 for example, not a great idea to memorize on a multi-class character, because their caster level, you can pause and read about the whole interaction between the caster of Dispel Magic and the caster of the buffs that are, you know, making a check if they are going to be dispelled. It's always a constant relation between those. In Baldur's Gate 1, the multi-class characters don't lag behind the pure class characters as much. So having Dispel Magic, you know, on someone like Jaheira is not that bad of an idea. But the problem is that usually our opponents are much higher level than we are, so dispelling them is not very likely. But we can still cast that on ourselves, for example, to dispel some negative effects, but you know, it's probably not going to work either. Then we have this Invisibility Purge, which is pretty good in SCS, just to remove improved invisibility. But not that many people have that kind of spell. It's a little bit later I might memorize one invisibility purge, because once we start encountering higher level mages that have access to like level 4 spells, they're going to have improved invisibility more often. But for now, I don't think I'm going to memorize that. And there's Miscast Magic. The problem with this spell is that, you know, it does nothing if a saving throw is made, but the saving throw has to be made with a -2 penalty, so it's not that bad. And then we have a Protection from Fire, which is a pretty useful spell in some situations, especially when you want to create some of your own combos, like make someone immune to fire and then throw some fireballs and whatnot. Rigid Thinking, another kind of disabling spell. It can be pretty effective. Then we have Strength of 1, which is actually really effective in Baldur's Gate 1, with a lot of fighters and like frontline warriors having pretty low strength. Here we can buff everybody's strength to 18 and 75 in exceptional strength, but if someone has higher strength, it will go down actually to this level. And then we have Summon Insects, which is actually a very underrated spell, again, because, you know, obviously it does nothing when a saving throw is made, but the saving throw has to be made with a -4 penalty, so it's actually pretty good. And I think I'm going to memorize one Cold Lightning and one Summon Insects. For those reasons, this should be a pretty effective, like a kind of a cookie cutter selection for no particular fight in mind now. I'm just going to select that. Oh, I also forgot to give new spells to Branwen, because she leveled up in the previous episode and gained access to one more level 1 and level 2 spell. So I think I'm going to have Sanctuary. This is just a very versatile, useful spell in different situations, so I like to have one instance of that, just because it's so useful in different situations. It has many different applications. And then at level 2, I'm not sure if we need anything in particular. We don't need, I think, anything. Maybe chant, maybe hold person, just kind of like a versatile spell. Silence is really good in SCS, but I don't think you need that many memorized. Let's just go with a chant here, and now it's time to go back to Baragost. Alright, it's nighttime. Combat music turned on because our blindness dissipated from Kira and I. Anyway, I think I'm going to recharge my shield amulet here. And I'm going to show you what I mean when it comes to recharging. It's a bit of a controversial mechanic because it's not really clear whether it was intended or not. There are some situations that would speak for or against that kind of claim. Basically, if you sell a item with charges that has not, you know, all of the charges have not been depleted yet, you can buy it again, or you can steal it again, which can be the case a lot when it comes to Baldur's Gate 2 especially, where there's a lot of vendors that you can steal from and it's really easy to buff up your pickpocketing. But anyway, you can buy it back, and when it comes to a shield amulet, for example, it's pretty inexpensive. Oh, actually, let's have it even cheaper. Forgot to switch my cloak there for maximum charisma. Now it's 200 gold cheaper. Gotta be frugal, gotta be frugal. You can buy that back, and it will have the maximum amount of charges. So as you can see, now it has 50. So some items are pretty abusable with that. I'm not going to like take advantage of that kind of stuff too much. I'm still going to be considering every use of this shield amulet. But oh yeah, I forgot to level up Imwen. Level 4 now, so getting closer to completing that dual class and regaining her thief abilities. Just one more level left, and she has a little bit more spells, which I was going to switch anyway. Now there's still that one bounty hunter group that can ambush us. I think I'm going to have some spooks. Well, in preparation of her getting level 5, maybe I'll memorize like 2 magic missiles, because at level 5 this is going to produce 3 projectiles. Now it's only 2, which is still decent if someone has mirror image and doesn't have shield to protect themselves. Speaking of shield, let's have one use of that at least. And this protection from evil is actually a pretty effective spell, pretty effective buff, but meh. We're going to have, well, not so soon because it's a level 4 spell. There's kind of like an AoE cleric spell that applies protection from evil for a very long duration to, you know, everyone in range. And let's have maybe one chromatic orb for some damage if someone is protected with shield. And then here, that's a really big thing that she doesn't have mirror images. We're going to have to visit High Hedge to buy some mirror image scrolls, and then afterwards do a scribing session, but that's going to be in the next episode, I think. In this one we're going to go straight to the coast because I've already wasted some time. So again, she has detect invisibility. Just the arcane spell. There are some spells that kind of overlap like that. This one is good. Strength. Especially in Baldur's Gate 1, where, like I said, a lot of warriors have kind of inadequate strength. This lasts for a long time and gives you a decent strength. So this could be something for Jaheira, for example. I think I'm going to go with, like, well, maybe one web is enough. I'm not a big fan of Melf's Acid Arrow, although it is nice for against some mages if they're not protected against that. And there's an arcane version of, like, Remove Fear. Basically, it's just a level 2 spell, so it's better to have that on Cleric. Well, we have a lot of potions of strength, on the other hand. But let's have that. Yes? Let's have one use of that. Alright, now let's rest. And now let us finally set out for the coast. There's a lot of things to accomplish there. Have a lot to do in this episode. And then after we're done with that, I think I'm going to do a scribing session with MON. I'm going to do an identification session, I guess. This is 24 hours, this is 36. Alright, let's go here first. It's likely, and yeah, we're going to have to rest here. Alright, another NPC project reminder that there are sirens on the coast, which can be pretty dangerous if you're not prepared against them. Alright, some ghouls here. Let's just take them out from range. Although you can see how now it's much easier than it was in the beginning. Come on, guys. Alright, there's a couple of points of interest here, and I mentioned nighttime because there's a specific NPC project quest that requires Kiven, and it requires nighttime. I'm going to elaborate on that in a second. First, there is Sheol, or Shoal, the nereid. Nereid is basically a type of a nymph. There's a couple of types of them, like nymphs, dryads, like sirens and stuff. Right, I think I'm going to sacrifice Kiven here, because he will not lose anything, really. She's basically going to offer a kiss of death that you can't refuse, and one of your characters is going to die as a result of it. And of course, if you talk with her as with your protagonist, then it's game over.
Please to help me, will you? I'm alone on this desolate dry land, and who knows what lurks in these woods.
You would only slow me down. So she wants a parting kiss. It's not my place to do so, dude. I'm truly sorry, but I must insist. And boom! So now we have to damage her a little bit. Not too much. Not too much, not too much. Alright. So she's like, no, this is no longer fun. I cannot die for this. They are my actions, but not my intent. I can but do as I am bid by the master. Right, so we can go with that. We can, of course, kill her. But we can, you know, put some faith into her and restore my fallen and explain your actions, else I shall continue. So apparently she is controlled by an ogre-mage called Droth. And he is able to command her essence, and she has to listen to him and whatnot. Alright. So I will fight to release her. But she doesn't seem to be all that well-intentioned. Like, she's like, oh, that could be interesting. Yes, do that. Or here, like, this is no longer fun. It's not supposed to be fun to be killing random travelers, dude. Alright, so now she's going to resurrect Given. I'm going to quickly re-equip him. Now let's do this, this, and this. Alright, well, let's keep him in the back.
Don't bother me.
I'm debating whether I should use a healing potion on him. Just because, well, if he's gonna get sniped by magic missiles, I think he's going to die either way. But anyway, here comes Droth.
Why have you not destroyed these small pigs?
So I'm going to, you can go with like, this is like a bit of a more good aligned option, I guess, but you and your lying accomplice shall harm no one else, Ogre. She is his mate, apparently. Alright, now let's wait for his pre-buffs to kick in, come on. Alright, so he's mirror image and ghost armor, so let's do a magic missile on him. And let's shoot him, and let's keep Kiven at a distance. I think he wanted to cast Sleep or something, but we managed to interrupt him, actually, throughout all of his mirror images. It's pretty funny. It's kind of like this. Alright. So Sleep on Imoen. It worked, unfortunately. But no big deal, he's going to be dead in a second. So 1000 experience for us, and actually he's going to have a really nice helmet. But now there is also the matter of Shoal. And I'm not going to let her get away, basically.
I dream of windswept shores, even while there.
Yeah, see? It was a fun game, but it is stale now. Oh yeah, it's so fun just killing random people with your death kiss, right? You evil... I don't want to swear, but... Alright, let's kill her, and 5,000 experience for us. She is one of the most profitable creatures to kill in terms of experience. So now we have truly done a good deed here. She's not going to harm anyone else. Alright, let's heal up Kivin in the meantime when we wait for Imoen to wake up. Alright, Branwen leveled up to level 5, so she's going to have access to level 3 spells. And of course, a level 3 cleric is really nice. Let's have maybe another silence, although, am I going to encounter that many mages? Maybe let's have another hold person. Alright, so clerics have a bomb-ass selection when it comes to level 3. There's so many good spells here. Utility spells, summoning spells like Animate Dead, there's utility and Dispel Magic, or, you know, clerics also have Strength of 1, clerics have Invisibility Purge, clerics have Zone of Sweet Air, which is not that useful in BG1, but, you know, you have Remove Paralysis, which is a cool reactionary spell. You know, you have Holy Smite and you have Glyph of Warding when it comes to damaging spells. It's just so much good stuff. You know, you have Unholy Blight, that's the evil. Oh, I should mention that because she is neutral aligned, she has access to both. Unholy Blight is an AoE spell that deals damage to good aligned characters, and Holy Smite is the kind of like the good aligned cleric's AoE spell that deals damage to evil aligned characters. And this is way more useful in Baldur's Gate, where the vast majority of your opponents are evil aligned. Sometimes you can fight some neutral aligned opponents, but generally it's all about fighting evil guys. Well, let's have Holy Smite just as a kind of a cookie cutter selection. I have no particular fight in mind now. Alright, let's explore a little bit. This is kind of like an inconsequential thing. There might be some... There's kind of like a spawn point of random monsters, I think, at the end of this. So as we wait for some ogres or grillions, as we wait for Imoen to wake up, we can just kill some guys in the meantime. For a little bit of experience, a little bit of random loot. Oh yeah, and I forgot to talk about the loot of Droth, which I'm going to talk in a second. So, this is the helmet that we're going to identify at some point. It basically provides us with 20% resistance to different elemental damage sources. And I think Jaheira is going to wear that now. So as you can see, she has 20 fire, 20 cold now, and 70 electricity combined with her boots. So we can give this cooler helmet to Branwen, I guess. And also he drops a katana in the enhanced edition. Normally that would be a bastard sword or a scimitar, I think. But this is a normal katana that you can get. It sells quite well for a non-magical weapon. And non-magical katanas do not break due to the Iron Crisis because they are not from the Sword Coast. They come from the east, from Karatur, basically. Those are very rare weapons on the Sword Coast. Come on, Imoen. Poke, poke. Wake up, sleepyhead. Right, we can progress down south. There's a couple of things that we can do here. Here we're going to be approaching... yeah, another group of monsters. Those are ogre berserkers, so my sleep is not going to do much. Well, Imoen could be nice here to soften them up with a nice fireball or something, but you know what, let's use one necklace of missiles. Alright, soften them up a little bit. Let's first have Jaheira. She's our best kind of tanky character, so let's have her approach. You know, she should have an easier time surviving these ogre berserkers, although, wow, there's quite a few of these guys. We could try and disable someone, or actually just debuff them with the chant. And you know what? Buff up your armor class with that shield amulet, and let's focus our attacks on those ogre berserkers. Alright, we're outside, out of the danger zone. Oh, Imoen woke up. Wow, dude. It's a good thing there's going to be a free heal for us in a second.
Yeah, fine.
I am certainly.
So just some minor loot. Now let's go meet the surgeon. There he is. A very interesting character.
Yes? It is done.
It would seem that you travelers are in need. It is lucky that I found you.
So we do need healing, but first could you tell us who you are? And he has this little exposition. You may call me the surgeon. I heal others in penance for what I have done in my past. Many have died because of a foolish act of charity on my part. I have a brother, an evil man by the name of Daviorn. He lives because I was too weak-hearted to kill him when I had the chance. So many have died at his hands, including our own father. We are going to meet Daviorn later in the game. Daviorn, aka Dave. Anyway, it's a bit of a shame that if you talk to him for the first time after already having met Daviorn, there's no change in dialogue options or anything like that. Not even the NPC Project gives you the chance of saying something that, well, dude, we've already met Daviorn, we've dealt with him, don't worry about it. Anyway, he gives us a little potion, potion of magic protection, which is really nice, and he's going to cast some heals on us, just for free. All we need to do is stay here for a little while. Fortunately, this is pretty quick. So although we've suffered some unnecessary damage in that fight with the ogres, we get some free heals. Alright. Now there's a certain fellow I would like to talk to.
For the group. Your concern?
So some random monsters again. A little bit of experience for us.
Yes, certainly.
It's better if Tempus
Indeed. For the group. Your concern. It is done.
I think he's over here. I always mix these two coastal maps together. On this map, there's pretty much like no point in this whole southern section. I'm gonna go here. There's going to be a certain mad character and a shipwreck for us to investigate. Alright, so here's Mad Arcand.
Yes, it is done.
And he is pretty mad.
Who you are, no, not I.
Wordle, 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 woo. Alright, so he wants a ring, apparently. And if we go directly west, there's a shipwreck. And it has this cursed ring called the Discipliner, which reduces both your intelligence and your wisdom to 3, and it also inflicts a feeble mind effect on you. And you can kind of like different theories about why he wants this ring. It apparently like calms him down or makes him happier. It seems like kind of my idea for it is that maybe he wore this ring for so long that it actually did some permanent damage to his mind and psyche, and now he just is under the impression that, you know, having this ring is just like more familiar for him or something.
Happy I am. Yes, I am.
So yeah, Mad Arcand the Stinking. Wurtle Woo.
Happy I am. Yes, I am.
So he gives us a potion of oil of fiery burning, which is really nice. It will
I am here.
be added to our Armageddon Tactics arsenal. Anyway,
May Auril bestow the frost
I'm just going to rest here because we need to be in nighttime.
Tread lightly.
You were startled out of
You
sleep
must
with
show
a chill.
respect in
Though
nature's
the night is
house.
warm and calm. It is though someone has walked across your grave, and for a moment you wonder if it was you. With this thought, the ground beneath you opens, and you are swept into the dark. When light returns, you do not find its presence comforting. Before you lay the empty mines of Nashkel, cleansed by your previous passage. You move through walls and floors alike, descending deeper and deeper, until a bloated figure comes into view. Mullahay, in no better shape than you left him, stands motionless before you. Held from whatever afterlife calls it, this foul apparition has been waiting for you. A dagger of bone hovers before it, ready for a willing hand to drive it deep. Had this creature breath, you were sure it would be hurling curses. It waits for the kill, a death beyond death, and knows no hope. You turn your back on the blade, and it clatters to the floor. Punishment enough shall find this creature in the land of the dead. You need not inflict any more upon him. Surprised and thankful, the visage of Mullahay hobbles forward and through you, off to whatever fate it deserves. Perhaps for safekeeping, it leaves a part of itself behind. It is a spark of hope that fills a space within you. A dagger-shaped hole you did not know was empty. There is a cry of rage from the depths, and the dagger of bone launches itself through the air. Your heart, its target. You awake just as it should have struck, and the cold sweat that covers you stings your eyes. A disapproving voice lingers in your ears, though it should have disappeared with the dream. You will learn.
Yeah, so finally the chapter 3 dream triggered. This is the good version, of course, where we, you know, turn our back on that dagger. And apparently some inner voice is disappointed with that choice. Alright, so we have another Cure Light Wounds on Senashira. Now she has 2 uses of that. Anyway, I also cast Sanctuary on Branwen because if your rest gets interrupted, you know, she's Sanctuaried, she's free to like cast a spell from a safe position, or just, you know, she's safe from harm. You can also do the same with like invisibility on like a squishy party member like Imoen. Now if she had invisibility, I could like cast that, because if the rest doesn't get interrupted, then you get your spells refreshed anyway. Anyway, we have to rest once more because we need nighttime here. And this is going to be 2 episodes, but I think I'm going to upload them both and same day, because I want to have this kind of section of the map done in as like a one whole. See? So now the ogres interrupted our rest. And those are ogre berserkers again. No, nothing is gonna work on them. But we have a free cast of Holy Smite, I guess. Boom. They saved versus spell, unfortunately, so it didn't do. that much damage, but as you can see, it actually inflicted blindness on one of those guys.
It is done.
Their Berserker Rage doesn't make them immune to blind. Alright guys, let's focus our attacks here. Alright. And basically, like I said, there's an NPC project quest that requires you to have Kiven, and it has to be nighttime here. And I actually didn't know about this quest because of these requirements, these very specific requirements. I didn't actually know about this quest for a long time. Alright, anyway, let's just rest. Interrupting again.
Yes?
By these ghasts.
What now? I am here. It is done.
You're not interested in following me, dude? Alright, let's try it again. Alright, now it's nighttime.
By your command. Yes, indeed. I am
Now,
here.
in the area, there should be a character that's going to approach us. Alright, here she is.
To be in the
You're
waters
indeed.
of home.
So, apparently Kevin recognizes his kin as Sea Elf. So she needs help against the Sahuagin. The Sahuagin are a type of creature like shark men that are well known from Baldur's Gate 2. But they normally don't appear in Baldur's Gate 1. Yeah, sea monsters incapable of mercy. They serve a cruel god called Sekola. Yeah, she's not as not all that she seems to be. Malenti. And another exposition what Malenti are. Kind of a half-breed, I think, if I remember correctly. Of course, feel free to pause. Try to not click too quickly through all this. Splashing. Right, so it's again the shipwreck location. And there are the 3 Sahuagin here. And a wounded sea elf.
Yes?
Alright, so they have a chieftain and just 2 normal guys.
This would be a good place for a
I really don't like our positioning here.
I'm gone.
I am here.
And they have oh wow, she got stunned, and apparently the text file didn't get the correct message.
Nature certainly
Anyway,
good as done.
they fire bolts of stunning,
Certainly.
but they're not too tough.
My blade will cut you down to size.
The fair folk rarely have time for small talk.
So this is kind of, if I remember correctly, this is kind of like a love story before between like 2 completely different, like people from 2 different worlds. I'm not doing this quest really to showcase the amazing story of it, I guess. But there is a very, very particular piece of loot that we get from this thing. Yeah, so here, like, are you blind, dude? Like, she's obviously after you. he mentions that some items are in that ship that might be of interest, and he is right on that. I am very interested in a particular item there. Yeah, so we can get the bolts of stunning from them. And some bolts +1. And I need to clean up my inventory a little bit. Alright, the thing I really wanted... Oh, sweet potion. Another magic protection potion. Alright, anyway, I should be wrapping this episode up. But let's just check this out. Now, this pearl necklace appeared in this shipwreck, and also this dagger. This is a boomerang dagger that you might be familiar with from Baldur's Gate 2, because normally it doesn't appear in Baldur's Gate 1. It's a returning +2 dagger, which is going to be amazing for Kirinai. Look at that. Although apparently... It's not supposed to be like that, I think. Oh, I know what it is. It's because I think it's by default it has its melee version selected here. We'll have to identify that and switch it over to the throne mode, I guess. And then we're going to witness its true power, I guess. So finally she's going to be rid of these throne daggers. She's not going to have to carry all that stuff. Alright, Branwen is back with us, and we are done with this area. So I think I'm going to directly record the next episode and post both of them in the same day, I think, because we have still the other coast area to clear out. So anyway, I'll see you in that next episode. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, see you in the next one.